So we're into the evening portion. If you can't tell by the mood, if you haven't had drinks yet, we're into the evening portion of the Media Ecology Convention. And day one. And I hope you've had a wonderful experience so far. There's lots more good to come, but we like to sprinkle in a little taste of the arts as much as possible. There's plenty of intellectual work that's been done and that will be done. And this is something intellectual, but with some heart. And we hope you enjoy what we're doing. I'm terrified because I am with a couple of seasoned poets and performers, and I'm just going to be up here doing my thing, but I hope you'll afford me a little leeway. This session is going to be a combination of Pecha kucha, and I'm not even going to tell you. If you don't know what that is, you'll find out. There's going to be a way for you to find out. It'll be a combination of Pecha kucha and poetry. And I'm joined by my dear friends and colleagues, Adeena Karasick. She's at Pratt Institute, right? That's where we are, and formerly at Fordham University, where we shared an office. And yes, thank you. And Lance Strate, who is still at Fordham University. And I'm Michael Plugh, and I'm at Manhattan College. Only one applause will happen. Oh, there's one nod. We're going to mix and match a little bit, and we're going to start with Adeena, who will be presenting Pecha kucha based on her book, which is here. Hold it up, and then I'll put it back. Massaging the Medium, 7 Pecha kuchas. This book is available at the book table, although maybe the book table is done for the evening tonight, but you'll be able to purchase this tomorrow. And
very good price. She's
going to do a lovely presentation based on this brand new shiny book. Ready?
Yes. Thank you. And for various technological reasons, I'm going to be doing it from this seated area. Hi, everybody. Okay, so this presentation, as you can see, is called Massaging the Medium, a Pecha kucha of 7 Pecha kuchas. And it's on my new book, just out from the Institute of General Semantics Press. Thank you. Infinitely editor extraordinaire, Lance Strate. Massaging, I could have started that. Massaging the Medium, a multimedia translation of a series of Pecha kuchas that I've created and presented at national and international academic, literary, media ecology, communication, and general semantics conferences, many of which you might have seen between 2013 and 2019, and all reread culture through a semiological, media ecological, general semanticist, deconstructionist, Jewish feminist lens. Some background. I've always been obsessed with language as a technology, a prime mover in the redistribution of aesthetic values, whether on the page, the stage, the mise en scene, the screen. Over my 35 years of publication and performance, the work draws on a range of neoclassicist post-language sound poetry, concrete bespoke models, framed by a fiercely feminist aesthetics of transgression, invasion, contradiction, ambiguity, ornament, access, paradox, and desire. And how focusing on the physicality, materiality of language, all intertextatically wrapped, fundamentally affects the way we see, breathe, feel, and act. How it propels us to see the world in new ways as cars plays, PA's socio-political, lingual, cultural shards pulsing with palimpsested resonance as instruments of change. How this engagement with language invites us to embrace the impossibility of the possible, the contingency of our finitude, our brokenness, excess, and exuberance within the fissures of being, and how this house of letters is a textatic habitat to live in. As you know, and I first learned from our amazing conference organizer and longtime Fordham colleague, Michael Plugh, Pecha kucha, Japanese for chit-chat, has been traditionally used as a mode for sharing often comedic, emotionally raw, visually compelling stories. However, as a border blurring, boundary busting, capitalistically enmeshed, language focused, feminist, poet, theorist, I was infatuated with the idea of taking this form, 20 slides, 20 seconds, re-choreographing it through a new formalist approach of reflection, deflection, refraction, and the fracturing of language and image, and invoking Alfred Jarry's pataphysics. They're not so much as kuchas, but patakuchas, and with a maximalist aesthetics explores the relationship, the relational contingencies of visual and acoustic space. And now, retranslated as a book, it asks the receiver to not only think about the subject matter, but to negotiate the multiplicitous modes of information when conflictual communication models are at play. How and in what ways is the media massaging the message as it hits various emotional, psychological, and cognitive registers at once? So whether it's a socio-historic reinvestigation of the telephone as an ever-evolving media apparatus, a Jewish feminist rereading of the apocryphal figure of Salome, resituating her as not a victim, but a freedom fighter, or thinking through a history of talking media as represented through pop culture, underscoring ways the ghost is literally in the machine, through a remapping of acoustic and visual space and a blurred or blurring subversion of academic discourse. These transposed Pecha intermediately play through added textual polyvalence, diffractions and fractions, contractions, extractions, frictions, inscriptions, encryptions, erupting as a landscape of influences, confluences, labyrinths, legacies, like how loose Irigaray describes woman, a plurality gathered into a matrix of interrelations, and does not privilege clarity and closure, but it's a kind of a nextual discourse, a series of refeminized McLuhan-esque probes. And through these 7 Pecha of the book, these 7 Pecha of the book remap a wide range of territories, each operate with its own structures, codes, logic, idioms, negotiating ways language creates theme, the mix of high and low culture, the problematics of truth, play, and how that linguistic play, that jouissance, is never just a free flow of indiscriminate information, but is always already contextual and must be woke to its foundations, fabrications, grounded maybe in what Derrida might call a chordal accord or concord of correspondences. Thus between the page, the stage, didn't want to do that. Okay, there we go. Thus between the page, the stage, sound, script, screen, language, culture, technology, gender, and communication, this research celebrates a highly feminist interventive poetics, reminding us how meaning making is always already a praxis of palimpsest and dissemination, and architecturally, lexically exilic elixir for transformation and change. Happy 24th, everyone. They are available as Michael said, for review here and now. Well, maybe like on the book table downstairs. And I just want to thank Mike and Adriana for a fantastic good day. Also. Absent.
Can I sneak in?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
How am I going to follow that? Okay, give me a moment to manipulate the technology here. Okay. This Pecha kucha is called Nihon no Monogatari, which means the Japanese tale. And this is a story told in photography, photographs that I took over approximately 20 years in Japan. And it combines Pecha kucha, the 20 by 20 slide configuration that Adeena just described. It's contemporary art form, Japanese-ish, because it was created by expats in Japan to explore better ways to experience PowerPoint than the way most people use them. And my Pecha kucha includes embedded haiku, photography haiku, and this is not a haiku. Korewa haiku janai. That's it's Pecha kucha. It's not a haiku, but it does have haiku in it. This is hybrid culture, Japanese poetic form, digital media in English language, and you'll experience it through a period of silence. Steam spirals upward, resting gently on my face, my stare fixed below. I've been here before, sitting in contemplation. Was it in the spring? Under mountains mist, slow and gray and wafting, a shock of tall grass. Did you lose the way? You can't get there from here, sir. Then I guess I'll stay. Here amongst the trees, it's better to be empty in Daruma's pose. Under bamboo's gate, the breeze rustles leaves no more. Someone cleared the way. Animated man, what magic brought you to life? Something in a bag. Vocalize your thoughts. Alphabet accessories. The kids are all lights. Take a look at that. The wild things seeking answers. Where are your socks, sir? Bacchus beats his drums. Spirits, blessed, lie in wait. Have you heard their call? Do you remember? The flow of time divided, leaving only ghosts. Between you and I, lines of demarcation stand. To be formless is bliss.
Splitting heaven's realm, illusions lie beyond. Take refuge within. Tangled bamboo grove, the Uguisu's call. Now I know the way. On the road from home, a traveler once asked me, who is like water? "10,000 breaths fall, awakening the Buddha. Can you hear the void?" Heart of the lotus, what is it to be empty? Mirror of the way. So we're about to have a poetry reading from Lance, and it's going to have some audio-visual accompaniment.
Just visual.
Oh, well, you're the audio.
Yeah.
And I'd like to also promote Lance's lovely books here on the table.
Looks not working.
Oh, yeah,
Don't worry.
First, we have Thunder at Darwin Station. It's a very attractive cover. And the second, the real reason I grabbed these is because I can't remember this title. Diatribal Rites of Passage in a World of Winter Textuality, Poems on Language, Media, and Life, but not as we know it. And these books are not available at the table outside. They're very exclusive. And Lance is going to be taking the best offer made to him after our event.
Any reasonable.
Any reasonable offer. Lance.
Thanks, Mike, and I just brought a few copies in case anyone would like one. And anything you think it's worth, it's fine with me.
At least like $100.
And just because I didn't create any visuals to go with the poems, I've been fooling around with the AI generator, art generator, Night Cafe, and plugging in titles of media ecology books. And so that's what's running in the background. Most of the poems I'm going to read are from my second collection, Diatribal Rites, that's W-R-I-T-E-S. I'll do one from Thunder at Darwin Station, too. And, real poets always say that you're not supposed to explain anything, just read the poem. But since I'm more of a media ecologist, and we're in a media ecology context, I'll give you a little background, at least for some of them. So the first one was written in memory of Neil Postman. And you'll also see Marshall McLuhan and Jacques will also make appearances. The medium is a mess, aging us from childhood to adulthood at the speed of light, from 0 to 60 overnight. Wind burn transforming us, from raw to cooked in the blink of an eye, microwave pop culture set from low to high. Electron and photon mutating us from enlightened to frightened in the palace of the absurd, from convivial to trivial, humiliating the word. And it all seems so confusing when your context you're losing, but we're all so terribly enthusing, as no gadget we're refusing, and all data we're diffusing. You might say it's quite amusing. There's no conserving education when the end is automation, and the triumph of the image has us burning every bridge. It's enough to make you balk, all that crazy, stupid talk. Entertainment just can't miss, no coherence. And now this. With this technology I thee wed and will love thee with all my heart, my mechanical bride, my electrical wife, until death, amused we. I was in Italy, over in Bologna, and I had the opportunity to visit the Marconi Foundation. I know Marconi invented the wireless, which became radio. And there was Marconi's tomb, giant, outsized tomb. And behind it in Italian is an inscription about his historical significance. And the quote is from, Paolo, you know.
The quote in Marconi's tomb.
Yeah.
Marinetti, Benito Mussolini.
No, Benito.
Benito Mussolini. Marinetti.
Yeah, so, okay, well, Marconi was a supporter of Mussolini, all right. Well, and of course, McLuhan talked about how the rise of authoritarianism in the middle of the 20th century was connected to radio, so that moved me to write this one called Marconi Mussolini. Marconi Mussolini, macabre Mussolini tower of pizza, pasta, pesto, picking up a feast to serve, stir the pot and carve the meat right off the bone. Speak in power to the truth, radiate waves and you salute, send out signals, Roman empires of the air. Enter homes when you want to, without warrant or welcome. Rule the skies and seas, the land, devoted to devouring macaroni, tortellini, Mercury, Maserati, fashion a faster, brighter future, lighting up the atmosphere. Explosions in the making, bursting out of shelled containments, flashing out into the night. Marionette, Marinetti. Lightning strikes and all are singing, hailstorm, true persons, hail Mark Antony, muscle man, Marconi Mausoleum, fetish figura, birds of a feather, sticks tied together, bound and bundled, rods to rule you, granting axes their power, poles running north and south, birds of a feather, tethered together by glamour, galvanized, by charisma, magnetized, by desire, electrified. Mark one and Mark only, Mark uno, not Mark due, no, never the twain shall meet. Who calls you from the ether? Who calls you from on high? Who calls you now to service as you leave your mark on history? Whose voice will master you? This next one I wrote when I had, on the occasion of an Encyclopedia Britannica declaring they would publish no more print issues. If you know the history of print, Denis Diderot, French scholar, invented the encyclopedia, but never actually finished it because it was too overwhelming. So I call this Digital Diderot, or the March of the Wikipedians. Hey, diddle-diddero, how much do you know? Are you nimble? Are you quick? Jacking up that candlestick, can you light up that wick? Dis-moi, monsieur Diderot, Diderot, Diderot. Did you do the math? If so, then what did you? Figaro, Figaro, Figaro. Burning the midnight oil, flickering illumination, wavering dedication. They say, Diderot, to what order do you belong? Was it all a Cartesian dream or a coordinated nightmare? Well, let's all go down to the Wiki Mart to get us some of that Wiki Smart. And enter the enchanted Wiki room where all the birds sing words and flowers croon. Hickory Diderot duck, the mouse clicked on the clock, while the cat played the fiddle and Alexandria's ragtime bandits set fire to stacks and shelves. Knowledge cooked, but not consumed. No matter, it's all immaterial. And the Cyclops turned into a Sysops, and a multi-volume set became the internet. And they put the pedia to the media. Wicked, wicked, wicked. Diderot, row your boat gently down midstream. Adieu, Monsieur Diderot, adieu, mon ami. The gods have left the machine. This one is called Gifts. Give me language that lingers alone without languor, language that longs as it licks at lost memory, language that's lanky with legs that are lengthy, language that lunges and maybe gets lucky, language that links to locations little known, language that unlocks the keys to alignment, language that lights up the dark night with laughter, language with lungs loud enough that they'll listen in lands everlasting in longitudes sublime. Give me language to speak when all else are silent. Give me language to call out your name. So it's called a turn of a phrase. A turn of a phrase can go on for days. It's a merry-go-round of meaning and sound. A turn of a phrase is a spinning top. It can make you dizzy till it comes to a stop. A turn of a phrase is a Hanukkah dreidel. It won't stand for long. It's fundamentally unstable. A turn of a phrase is a whirling dervish dancing in a matter more than a little curvish. A turn of a phrase is a voyeur's gaze when you're least aware. It makes you stop and stare. A turn of a phrase is a crazy carousel. Ride the painted ponies and fall under its spell. A turn of a phrase is a spinning wheel. If you prick your finger, you might never heal. A turn of a phrase is a turn of the key. It can open your mind and unlock mystery. A turn of a phrase is an endless maze. Just around the bend is another dead end. A turn of the phrase, like a turn of the screw, tightens its grip, trapping me and you. A turn of a phrase is a linguistic maelstrom, a whirlpool of words you may never escape from. A turn of a phrase is like the earth on its axis. Days follows night, like death follows taxes. A turn of a phrase is a roundabout. Whether you're coming or going, it's hard to get out. A turn of a phrase is a revolving door. Better exit quickly or you'll be in for more. A turn of a phrase is just a phase of language gone mad. It's a passing fad. A turn of a phrase is just circular reasoning. It's gourmet cooking with spices and seasoning. A turn of a phrase is a centrifugal force with great gravity, a weighty discourse. A turn of a phrase swings and sways like a pendulum do. That's English for you. This is a sad one. It's a very sad thing. It's called A Fickle Pickle. Pluto, oh Pluto, oh what did you do to deserve such a brutal fate? Some say, God damn it, you are a planet, and 9 is a number divine. Others say, can't sugarcoat it, we just have to demote it. Here's where we draw the line. Pluto, dear Pluto, please say it ain't true to me. Please say it isn't too late. Some say your addition has become our tradition. You're a body that's heavenly sent. Others say we can't avoid that you're an asteroid. Science has no room for sentiment. Pluto, my Pluto, the question is moot to you as you make your icy, erratic rounds. The words that we choose, the terms that we use, make no difference to you all the same. You are what you are, an object so far away, immune to the attractions of fame, ignoring our mockery. You're just a big rock, you see, but the children all know your name. But Pluto, our Pluto, oh, surely you do know how our mortal foolishness abounds. Exiling you from the planetarium, we belong in a sanitarium for being so terribly constant. We are so very mad that I think our next fad will make Australia an island, not a continent.
That wasn't very sad.
I have to hold back the tears. This one Al mentioned on the cover of the Diatribal Rights. This is a kind of like a mock-up, mashup that my former colleague, now retired, Ed Wachtel, created, where he sort of superimposed Starry Night on a weather map, and it was like Vincent van Gogh's weather map, because he saw like a kind of pattern recognition. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of like Florida and South America and Cuba, and then, you know, anyway, so he made that as a kind of joke, and so I wrote a poem inspired by that called Hurricane Vinny. It was a dark and starry night, strange weather threatening, and no one to lend an ear to the song of the satellites singing their storm warning. A tropical depression, gale winds gathering, suicide to stick it out, too late to evacuate. The art of meteorology, a science akin to astrology, reading atmospheric constellations for visions of the future, whether or not a vain pursuit. For the art of masking our own ignorance, for the art of disguising the unknown, for the art of fabricating order from random events, for the art of forecasting fortune, for the art of forgetting our fears, for the art of finding comfort in the night, the fallout, dear Vinny, lies not with our stars, but starts with our lives. I'm going to do one of the Thunder at Darwin Station collection consists of 10 thunders. If you're familiar with that reference, you know, for me it's McLuhan, but it comes originally from James Joyce, and so there's 10 thunder poems, but not at all related to Joyce, more related to McLuhan. But anyway, so this one's just the 6th thunder. I went down to the diner, saw you sitting there. Down to the diner, saw you sitting there, turned around for just 1 minute and you disappeared. I went down to the diner, sore and aching, got no prayer. Down to the diner, sore and aching, got no prayer of ever seeing you again. And Lord knows my time is near. I went down to the diner, source of food, water, air. Down to the diner, source of food, water, air. Don't know what hit the place, but it's something evil, I fear. I sat down at your table, but my seat was all wet. Spilled a cup of water and they still ain't mopped it yet. Deep fryers are overflowing. Smell of oil fills my head. The staff here ain't good for nothing. They don't care if we get fed. Outside they're gunning the engines of their hot rods and their bikes. Inside they're acting like sheep. Wait until the butcher strikes. It's the 23rd solemn day. And it's shadow that they feel. Darkness fills the valley and the pasture knowing ain't real. So I went down to the diner to order my last meal. I went down to the dinosaur, you sitting there. Down to the dinosaur, you sitting there. Turned away for just 1 minute and you disappeared. Okay, last one. Back to diatribal rights. And this one is called My System. What's solid is a fluid that's moving very slow. What's fluid is not substance. It's energy aflow. Some 14 billion years ago, there was this great big pop. An explosion so tremendous that they never ever stopped. We are riders on the Big Bang of the universal birth, clinging to some debris that we call the planet Earth. It's all a matter of scale and perspective, don't you see? It's all a matter of where you stand and relativity. Things are not as they seem. Things are not as they appear. So please, be careful and be kind and have another beer.
To close this poetry plenary, I'm very happy to invite back to the podium Adeena for several readings. Well, performances. You're not going to read. Oh, yeah. Adeena, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, everybody. It's been a long day. It's amazing that you're here, that we're all here. And because specifically, we've all been through, during the COVID years, as it's still here, as things were open and closed these past few years. So in honor of the fact that we can all be here in person and celebrate physically here, I'd like to read a piece called of Openings. It starts with an epigraph by Jacques Derrida. I always dream of a pen that would be a syringe. When the opening is a promise, opening, opining, peers, pulsing, policies, policing, open, upana, open, apen, apertura, apen, as opening, is so often apenan, pending, propane, to disclose, reveal, become manifest. exposed, has a 2202, 422 million worldwide have been exposed. Let the walls open, the bridges, borders, bastions and bodies open, scores of terrifying silences open, 1,000 darknesses of murderous speech opening, the streets are opening, gates, eyelets, shadows, measures, cities, machines, foundations, chains, roads, emulations, ideological sedimentation. The field is opening, the night is opening, the pen, the pun, the poems, the pen, the pan, opening, sections, dictions, dichotomies, definitions, contractions, extractions, opening, parentheses, indices, hypotheses, the letter is opening to what constant reader, whose open wardrobe, what cold open of which open see, whose open mic just open, my head and the high windows open, this day, this door, this open house of whispered screams, scroll, struggle, open, the space of emergence, my mouth, your legs open, these idioms opening up and toward the open air, our arrows on, we audible in the mouth, aching ox, soak, see, spray, semantics open, the light and lick, rim, sit, wet, we're opening, you rock, cleave, seize, friends, spread, fist, sense of portals, border, passage, grasp, axe, gaps, the fleshy, lexical, elixir of a lips, slip, lapse, rat, wet, caress of mounting sweat, opening in the gloaming, opening, a happening, a hopening, happening, a ripening, and nothing bodies, borders, lungs, tongues, fissures, bodies, appended, pending, suspending, expending, pandering, meandering, the openings, and a bend, a rupture, and a redoubling, excess and a nexus of excess anguishes, fragilities, so just open me from the inside, open and across. In me with paradox, inflammation, contamination, fever, seizures, caesura, screams, scars, pin me against the open secrets between trauma and promise, opening, the words are opening, phases, phrases, my body is opening, 7 openings in the head, 10 openings to the body, openings of connection, injection, insurrection, affection, opening, like a silence, like the psyche, a series of speculative negotiations, having all futures within it. Okay, so I'm reading 3 pieces. They're all about that. So 3 pieces, and then we're going to go to time and schmooze and celebrate this wonderful, wonderful first day of the conference. Okay, second piece. In the wake of course, not being able to travel as much as we'd like, and as both a love letter and a lament to the airplane, exploring how Alakan, the airplane, is structured like a language. Here's an excerpt, and that starts with a epigraph by Marshall McLuhan. The airplane is an extension of the entire body. In the partition of skin, wrapped like paper, like prayer, through the echoes of hushed walls, welling through chambers of night, between leisure, labor, utility, and pleasure, the airplane, as an erotic theater, a social text of secret motives, functions like a language. A hyperculture of forces and relations, chains and connections, affections, insurrections, systems, cycles, patterns, and dispersions in an erotic ecology of sovereignty and sacrifice. We are the letters traveling through space, seated letters, speaking ourselves against the sky, inverted through flying circuits, coded cipher, secret, shaded silence of shuttered chiffons. We are the letters, the interletters between rows of text, awake in the flux of discomfiture. The spoken sentence between destinations of dissemblance liaised in the labor of our aisles, arrows, sorrows, arrows, paradoxing on the runway in the heft of day. The airplane is structured like a language, and we are the letters, reassembling in a shifting ensemble, illicit and clandestine, sequestered in the curved body of our crevices, potents, platforms, portals, promise. We are the floating signifiers flying through a body of conventions, volatile and unspooled, living. And we are flying through gates of connection, gates of entry, gates of desire, Q gates, R gates, S gates, T gates, B gates, my gate is good. Through passages, sentences, scrolls, arcs, lines of flight constellated in the abyssaries of the abyss, and says, climbing by night to the river, daily bay over the rainbow, climbing faster than angels, so fly as the sky, flying without wings, the sparks fly on, flow, shackles, born to fly with me to the flux of foam, to refuel, valley, veils, walls, mole, river, AR, luminous, voluminous, free fly, filled me by the sea of your palms, fly me like a butterfly fly as flamingos fly and the cool fly free and fly blind, buttress from the inside like a flying flag on the fly to the moon over the dateline as the sky flies awake. Okay, so last one, I'm almost like hesitant to do it, maybe because it's probably tired, but I have never read this before, so it's completely unpractical. So I'm debuting it here, and I don't know how it's gonna go, so bear with me. Many of us here were recently in Paris performing or delivering a paper at ICA. And what was wacky was for the name tag, there were different colored lanyards to display how much in the wake of COVID you wanted to be touched. So it's like red, yellow, green, you want to be touched by your elbows, like stay away. So it inspired this. See how it goes. All right, so it's called Touching in the Wake of the Virus. And it's got a whole list of epigraphs, but I'll just read two. We get to this? Good. So the first is by Thomas Aquinas, touch is not skin, but the interplay of the senses. And another is by Walter Benjamin, touch, the optical unconscious. God be with me. That does sound pretty. Between abstract in compact, contact, tact, axes of extraction, transaction, infractions, reactions, value, through the dabbing, viscera, apparati, apparition, partition, streaming, party, touched, the improper, inappropriate, improprietous, riotous, touched, the serve, the skin, sucker, swung, scripts, wild, false, folded, secret, scandals, contours, entrees, for what lets itself be touched, touches its border, touches only a point, a limit, a surface, as a tangent, touches a line without crossing it. So just to touch me through velas, fully ripped by fever valleys, valor with your ordinances, affordances, consequences, networks of pleasures, policies, policing, touch me through these fractured margins of connections, reflections, all sorted, resorted, surveyed, or they through contractual acts of tactical pacts, boards of parched doubt, pierced grips, rips, grasps, wrapped as I brush by you, touch but love's own secret. It's all touch and go as I hear, taste, touch to my tongue. All be touched and touched upon, touche, be told, just touch base, touch wood, be in, don't lose, stand, tug, tug, tish, touch, touche, torque, touchdown, on touche, touche, can one really touch anything, touch nothing, touch without being touched, how to touch without touching too much, where touching is already too much. And between objections, rejections, insurrections, predilections, who is the you I am touching today, touching the touching of the touch and the today, of wild touching, the today of withholding, the today of passionate rations, measures, erasure, reserve, of screaming, censure on the today of sweat, wind, dark ribs, silken grips, scripts, slits, slits, wind, sweat through anguish, tangents, wounds, thresholds, strongholds of sun, suck, wet, legs, lips, stilts, lips in the double bind of desire, in the proximity of the intimate intervals of distance. And today I am touching the space between us as dwell drips through creased teeth, soft salt, sweat, smash streams, saporous, sinuous, sonorous, salient, touching, sound streams, streams of finger crossed fringe futures touching this new era of throbbing wheels, feels, seals, seated, plays, breeze, leaves, poised. So just touch me in the apora, aria, porous, aura of lip, slip, slap, tongue, tease, trace, sweat, press, precipice of pre-seen, pulsing, lips, list, back, lift, umbilicus, touch me in the empty truth of the almost, of omens, almonds, demons, demons, curves, clasp as we grasp the ungraspable, touch the untouchable, touch that which is not given to touch between the ever-occurring and the verge of occurrence, in the intangible passing of lit, black, block, clock, lapse, maps, tacit tracks, tags, cracks, protracted acts of taught contracts, as we are always on the surface of contact. If you're hectic and you know it, strap your hands.
You haven't lost your touch.
Let's touch wood.
Thank you very much for being here with us. I always feel like when I'm able to be up here with Lance and Adeena, that it's a little bit of a family affair. It feels nice, but you know, it feels even more so having you with us. And we're not done yet for the evening. There's a reception awaiting us. I wonder if anyone has any questions perhaps to ask us before we head off to the reception.
Let's go down to the diamond.
Let's go down to the solar. Thank you, everyone. Sure, there's time to mingle, and if you'd like to pick up a copy of Lance's books, they are here, and you can bribe them, and I'm sure people will accept your offer. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.